Welcome to today's webinar on why are people today so argumentative, so angry, and so quick to criticize. And without any further ado, I'm going to start off and do something I haven't often done. I'm going to say to Mel, because you and I have been chatting on this topic throughout the day, why don't you pick up the topic from there, Mel, and share with us your perspectives on what aspect of anger you'd like to talk about.
So what I'd like to do today, realizing everybody is angry, I'd like to end up here with all of us being happy, one way or the other. We often ask ourselves why we did certain things, and we go real hard on ourselves sometimes and become so angry that we just can't see our way out of the forest and go to the solution of the problem. So what is anger? Anger is an emotional state characterized by feelings of hostility, frustration, and annoyance. And it can range just like a spectrum from mild irritation to real intense fury and rage. And it's a response, whether it's real or not, it sure feels real to ourselves. So it's a response to perceived threats, injustices, needs that we can't met, goals that we haven't met. It manifests itself, if sustained, through increased heart rate, elevated blood pressure, all sorts of things. And behaviorally, we yell at people, we become aggressive, and we lose the ability to think. So let's ask why people are so angry. Well, this was just like drinking from a fire hose. So I kind of summarized some of these things, and this is a combination of both of them. I don't want to read all of this, but anger, frustration, perceived injustices, and so on, all of these things here, I'm sure we all interpret the same way. So understanding the root cause of anger can help us manage it more effectively. Techniques such as mindfulness, communication skills, stress management, they all can be beneficial in reducing its effect in coping with anger. So just as a highlight, a higher level here, the definition, as we said, it's an emotional response. It can be caused by internal or external factors. We can cause it ourselves. We can set unmeetable goals. We can set the bar so high we ourselves can never get over it. External factors, something other people or other groups have done that affect us, and we have no control over whatsoever. How it manifests itself? Well, towards ourselves. Negative talk, frustration, sense of giving up, and so on. And towards others, we become emotional, really emotional, physically, verbal outbursts, aggression, and so on. And we're the ones who suffer for it. Our health suffers for it. We become heart attack victims, basically. So look at some of the triggers. Stress situations and psychological, unmet expectations, situations that we find ourselves in that we haven't prepared ourselves for and can't easily cope. Physiological, hormonal changes, neurological conditions, and all of that contribute to the levels of anger. It manifests itself both, again, internally and externally, from behavioral signs, emotional signs, and physical signs, the yelling, the irritability, the heart rate, all of that type of stuff. And that has some negative effect on us. Our cardiovascular issues, immune suppression. When's the last time you had a really good night's sleep? There's more and more people I know are wearing the watches now to find out if they've actually slept at all. Coping with anger, mindfulness and meditation. I admit I haven't really sat down to meditate, but when you look at this and you stop and think about it, hey, that problem isn't half as bad as I thought it was. So taking that aside and dealing with it, putting things in perspective and prioritizing it will help us. Physical activity. Yeah, walking the dog around the block a couple of times a day sure helps me. But it's not one of these things where it's going to solve everything. So we need some resilience. We need some strategies, positive mindset, looking at the thing, framing the thoughts and saying, hey, look, I don't need to solve this right now. I don't have to get worried about it. I'm just going to leave it for a bit, but I will come back to it. Because otherwise it's going to just get bigger. Strong relationships, build a support network, and have people that you know and can talk to and open up with a little bit. Problem solving skills, break these things down so that we can break them into manageable parts. Divide et impera, I guess I forget what it was. My Latin is not all that great. But Anyway, they divide and conquer, essentially. Divide the problem into smaller parts that can be manageable. And we have to manage all this. We need external help, sometimes friends, family, or in remote, some, let's say, major cases, professional help. Community engagement, work with others, develop networks and friends, support groups, join groups with similar experiences. And we're coming to an end here, but we have to have a support system. We have to ensure that we, as the person or individual who is affected by this anger, has balanced diet, sleep, exercise, some relaxation techniques, that type of stuff, professional help, therapy or counseling when needed, and that again is to the extreme sometimes. But a lot of cases we let it go too long before we actually sit down and say, hey, this is really me. I need some help. Building resilience rather. Mindfulness practices, health distractions, coping strategies, all of these types of things. Stop, count to 10, count to 3 even. That'll help. Mental health, anxiety and depression, prolonged anger is just going to compound itself. We end up in a downward spiral. Relationship strains. How many people know breakups and all of that type of stuff because of anger, because of things that people have let go for too long?